Hey everyone, we're gonna start here in just like a couple minutes. We're just gonna delay a little bit. Hopefully we can get some stragglers on here. We had quite a few register, but obviously we're just a little bit low on attendance. But we're gonna still record this, which is great. So we'll record everything, and then we'll get it all nice and edited, and then we'll actually send it to every single person that registered. And in this way, if you get it as a rep out there or one of our RSMs on the team, you can also share this with other specifiers as well. So, and eventually this will all live in a really nice area somewhere online. We're working on trying to obviously create content first, and then eventually we'll have some type of, I don't know, elemental university, Diode LED university of some sort. So we'll get started here in pretty much about a minute, 2 minutes, and we'll get going. So, all right, thank you again for joining. Switch over slide. Perfect. Good job. And then, biggest thing is making sure when I unmute this and I start doing it, make sure that that mute has green going up and down. If it's not, then let me know. That's okay to interrupt because we need to fix that. This happened last time as well. We had like 8 people register and like 5 showed up. I don't get it. I really don't get it. I think it's because it's specifiers, you know? So, yeah. It's just a bummer, you know what I mean? It's not that, it's just, you know, we do all this work and stuff, set it all up and stuff, and it's just kind of like, damn, you know what I mean? So, yeah. One last thing I'll have you do when we start is reset that after you unmute it. So you'll unmute it, put me on 1, reset that so I can see the time. Because I don't want to go over 30 minutes, 35 minutes. I want to leave Q&A. Gotcha. Yeah. So. All right, and then let me make sure this thing works. Okay. You think we should start 5 minutes after? Yeah. Might as well, right?
Yep.
It's been set the whole time. So, all right, mute it and then unmute it. I mean.
Unmute it.
Switch to
Camera
1
1 and reset.
and then reset.
Got it.
Let me know when we're good.
All right. I'm muting right now.
Okay. All right, everyone, we'll get started here. I'm Cam. I'm the Senior National Training Manager at Diode LED in Lucetta. It's going to be a fun one. This is our second quarterly virtual specifier. This is specifically supposed to be for Diode LED. Obviously, some of you do know we have our Lucetta brand, our Lucetta division that is very, very high grade, high quality, spec grade products. The idea of this is we're trying to really get in the specifier culture that getting them to understand that Diode LED is not just a wholesale manufacturer, that we have a lot of great spec grade products that we actually design and engineer ourselves. So I'm going to get into it here in just a second. If you have any questions or comments, please put that through the chat and we'll make sure to answer them at the end. And even if it's only 7 people, we might even just have a nice little roundtable discussion and we'll unmute everyone. So we're going to get into it. We're going to actually do a recap first for anyone who did not attend the last Diode LED quarterly virtual specifier training. So you can see the day, though, I am a little festive, just like the Reel to Reel, if you were able to attend that. We wanted to bring in the holidays strong. I do look like a little bit like an idiot, but I'm trying to go for that Russian Santa. So yeah, we'll get started here. Let's switch over to the slides and we'll get it going. Awesome. All right. So just like most of all my presentations, right, I really want to kind of address where I think the theme of lighting is going. I've been in lighting for 12 years. I was there when diodes were really, LED diodes were really just the wild, wild west. No one trusted them. It was blue lighting. It was inconsistent. Warranties were maybe a year long. People just did not trust LEDs. And then as time went on, right, and we were able to mimic true incandescent types of lighting, so 2700, 3000, as we became more consistent with our color changing, even the way we actually dimmed LEDs, people started to trust LEDs, and obviously now this is really the only type of lighting that we see on most types of projects nowadays, anything from residential to commercial. But we also had to deal with tape light, right? Tape light was considered a DIYer's type of lighting. It was the wild, wild west. People saw it as fickle, inconsistent. So over the years, we've been doing this for 16 years, right? We're very specific. We only get into tape light. We don't get into wraps and downlights and track lights and all of these other types of lighting. For 16 years, we've been trying to perfect tape light lighting solutions. And so today, I want to talk about where I see the theme of lighting going and how tape light is a perfect tool to use for this theme of lighting, right? And that is when great lighting is integrated into beautiful architecture, right? People don't want to see the dots anymore. They don't want to see these large hardware all over the architecture. They don't want to take away from beautiful architecture. So everything is becoming more modern, more minimalistic than ever before. And so tape light solutions is really a perfect tool to use for this type of lighting because you can make it minimalistic, small, and discreet, and you can actually hide this into the architecture. So I wanted to show you a couple applications that were sent in to me as a trainer. This was when we actually host trainings here in Reno, Nevada. These were all customers that came to Reno and actually submitted these different application shots. So this was a really cool job that someone from Visual Comfort, he was a lighting designer. He ended up actually really trying to use linear lighting as almost like an art piece. So as you can see on the left, right, pretty beautiful, nice piece of architecture, right? And instead of taking away from it, right, he used very minimalistic pendants, and then he just did a line of light through that architecture, so it still gives it a good accent lighting. It brings your attention and your eyes towards this nice little piece of architecture, but it doesn't take away from it. Or on the right side, right, this was another unique mud-in application. He kept it very simple to an extent where he didn't cross them and do any types of shapes, but he had decided to go just a few different runs, different dimensions on the runs to really create this nice art piece in this master bedroom. And I thought it came out absolutely gorgeous. It brings your eyes to this actual art piece, but it also is providing good lumen output, nice accent lighting, right? It's still having a it's still actually supplying good output into this room as well as still being an artistic piece. This was another awesome shower application that we worked on. Believe it or not, this was using our submersible product. In tile, he had to do obviously a lot of planning and preparation ahead of time with the tile workers to make this happen. But we ended up sending out samples and different channels so that they could actually route out into the tile the exact dimensions. And then we put our AlphaTech X into this application, and I think it just looks stunning. It's absolutely beautiful. It's completely flush to the tile, completely diffused, no dots whatsoever. And again, he kind of kept that same style, right? Doing different runs, different run lengths, and then really created this nice art piece that brings your attention to this gorgeous shower. And in a wine room, right? This is another, or I should say a wine room or a wine rack, right? People spend all of this money on this wine rack, right? They put expensive bottles of wine in there, and all he did was a very, very simple application. Due to the mirror on the back side, he wanted to have some type of like infinity looking style of lighting. So he just wrapped this wine rack with simple linear lighting. And then now with that mirror, it kind of gives you this nice infinity. It makes the wine rack look like it has much more depth. So just another really cool application. And then I wanted to show you a nice little application where we use STREAMLITE. This was on these open shelves, right? We had a difficulty trying to figure out what we were going to use here, right? There's no lip whatsoever. So they really didn't want to have to mill into the actual shelves. But obviously this is a centerpiece. It's in the living room. It's behind the TV with the fireplace, right? People are going to enjoy this space. So we ended up being able to go with a very easy solution using STREAMLITE, and it looks completely integrated into the shelves without having to use channels, without having to mill into the actual shelves. And then actually this is another project where we used STREAMLITE inside a custom chandelier. We do a lot of different style applications with STREAMLITE and different types of custom light fixtures, and anything from chandeliers to custom pendants to I've even seen an amazing project where a lighting designer used wet located STREAMLITE in these custom bollards, and it was like these really cool different pieces of wood that they laminated and to make it weatherproof, and it really came out fantastic. We're still waiting obviously on the final shot with that. And then just probably one of our most common areas that we see STREAMLITE outside of under cabinet and shelves, right, and toe kick is using it for step lighting. And gone are the days, and this is where I kind of think I can prove where the theme of lighting is going, is gone are the days that people want to use those typical small louver step lights. You see them everywhere. They're on the actual face of the steps. You see the hardware. It gives you just this tiny little splatter of light. Instead, what we're seeing is using linear tape light solutions across the entire step. And so this was actually my buddy Adam, who's on the team now. We worked with each other for years. He ended up using just basic STREAMLITE on these staircases, actually saved the customer a lot of money, and I think it absolutely turned out gorgeous. So. And then let's talk a little bit about the recap, right? I wanted to go in just the basic overview of what we talked last time, and then we'll get into the actual this version's presentation here. So biggest thing, right, is I want you everyone to remember, right, that this is really our ethos at our company, right, is to make it simple, make it easy, make it here. What makes us unique as a manufacturer is not only do we manufacture a good amount of our products here in Reno, Nevada, and true manufacturing. What I mean by that is we're not bringing in stuff and just assembling it. We're actually designing and engineering unique machines to actually make products that are one of a kind. And so, for example, we talked about the AlphaTech X, right? This was a machine that was completely unique and rare, never being used in the actual lighting industry. We actually found it. It was originally for medical grade equipment that it was being used for. Our engineers, we took this machine, we redesigned it and repurposed it to actually manufacture a polyurethane, one of a kind submersible product. Right? Or for example, if you ever have time to come up to Reno, Nevada, we have a unique machine that's one of a kind in the industry. It's called an ACT machine. This allows our people in the warehouse to actually solder and cut tape light, and what would take maybe about half a day to do, we can do that at about 1 hour. And this is a machine that pulls in 20 different runs of tape light at different lengths with different lead wire. You can plug it in, put in the code, and it will pop it in, bring out the tape light, cut the tape light, and then solder the actual lead wire onto the tape light perfectly. So this is helping us reduce mistakes, keep lead time short, and being able to really make sure that we live up to that fast shipping that we've always been able to be capable of back in the day. So, and then just wanted to give you a nice little snapshot. That machine I was talking about for AlphaTech X is on the right there. As you can see, right, we actually build out the custom molds for this as well, so that this way we don't have to manufacture only 20-foot lengths or 15-foot lengths. We can make a custom mold in the factory to have different length runs. So this way we are optimizing time and optimizing our lead times as well. And then on the left, right, is just a nice little snapshot of the warehouse. If you ever have the time to come up here, we are about to release our 2024 training dates. It is awesome. You'll see how large the warehouse is. Most people can't believe. They see it as they think it's going to be a 25,000 square foot warehouse. Right now, we're at about 150,000 square feet. That is massive for tape light as well, since most of the stuff we make is very small and minimalistic. So definitely suggest having the time next year to come up for a training. So what we talked about last time was really the Valent series, right? Everything from Valent X to then our Valent series, right? Which is our Valent RGBW, and our Valent Warm Dim. And then we talked about a couple channels that I recommend as well. The square channel, as you can see on the left, very popular channel, very minimalistic, but has a beautiful raceway on the back so that you can hide the different types of mounting behind it. So this is a great channel for direct view. We talked about the Slim, which is probably our most popular spec grade low profile channel. Both of these channels have multiple different types of lens options, everything from architectural lenses to black lenses to even nice premium diffusion lenses to really cut off any of that glare. And then we also talked about the Graze X. The reason why is because we use Valent X tape light in our Graze X product. This allows you to have a grazer that is one of a kind, meaning that you can choose any dimension you want from 6 inches up to 8 feet within the inch. Most grazers out there are massive, they're bulky, they're extremely expensive, but you're also stuck with the dimensions the competitor gives you. 18 inches, 24 inches, 36, 48. With our grazer, because we're using tape light at its base, you can choose any dimension you want for any type of wall within the inch. And so really this last quarterly specifier training was supposed to be more our very high-end spec grade tape light with our higher end channel profiles, as well as a really nice specialty fixture as well with the Graze X. Today, I do want to talk about a little bit more of a family, the STREAMLITE family, that I think is really going to be the future of tape light in the next 5 to 7 years, and I'll explain that later here. Before I get into the STREAMLITE, I do just want to mention, right, this is the bread and butter of what we do, right? What we do is tape light, channel profiles, drivers, accessories, so anything from connections, right, the different types of timers and sensors, anything that you need to layer on top of your system, as well as controls, right? And so always remembering to check off all 5 of these boxes when actually designing a tape light solution for some type of application, that we do not get boggled down with all of the other stuff that we could get into, because we want to be the experts and to keep quality as high as possible with all of our products, right? And the biggest thing to remember is how I was talking about how we do true manufacturing. The other thing I wanted to bring up when I start talking about the STREAMLITE family is that we design and engineer everything from the ground up. Everything from how we choose the diodes and having some of the highest quality diodes in the industry, how we have a custom phosphor mix across all of our products, meaning that if you use 2700 now and add on into the project in 2 years, that 2700 is going to be the exact same. If you use the STREAMLITE or the Valiant or the Blaze, right, that 2700 is going to be the exact same. There might be slight differences because of the CRI, right, and the different R values, but we are using a very specific custom phosphor mix. We design and engineer the electrical circuit boards ourselves. We plot them out. We do the tolerances, as well as even having the thickest PCBs in the industry, which is the backing of the tape light, which allows you to have less chance of mishandling it in the field, of it breaking down, right? These are the small differences that really make us unique in the industry, is that we're not just pulling off the shelf from overseas, getting our logo rubber stamped on it, but it's a vendor that's working with 20 other tape light manufacturers. We're actually controlling the design from the ground up. So let's get into it though. Wanted to talk about the STREAMLITE family today. This is one of my favorite products. I really do believe this is the future of where tape light is going. Really, as we talked about earlier, right, people no longer want to see the dots. And so this is why what we call cob lighting started to become very popular around 5 to 7 years ago. Cob lighting means chip on board. I do want to mention, though, when we get into the STREAMLITE family, that this is not cob lighting. Now, you might hear one of our sales reps say cob, or you might hear a distributor or a contractor say cob because it looks very similar, but I'll explain why it was very important for us to not use the same typical design of cob with the STREAMLITE. We wanted to future-proof this product for when we came out with color changing, and I'll explain that here in just a little bit, the main difference when talking about STREAMLITE versus cob. So just want to do a fun little thing, right? So this is our STREAMLITE in a channel, as you can see here, right? Completely, the phosphor is poured over the entire PCB. So instead of individual phosphors poured over each diode, we take smaller diodes, individual diodes where they're almost touching to each other, and we pour a continuous phosphor run over them. And I'll show you that close up here in just a second. Then just wanted to show you what happens when you actually put it in a channel with a nice diffusion lens on there, right? You can really create budget-friendly channel profiles and make them look spec grade, right? Instead of putting, maybe our Blaze or Blaze X in there, which still is great for a lot of applications, with the STREAMLITE, now you get this really nice even diffusion from edge to edge on that lens. So I'm going to talk about STREAMLITE here, and then we're going to be switching back and forth to our top-down. So let's go over just the golden nuggets or the higher level specs on it, right? There's a few things I really just wanted to point out, right? One thing that's unique about STREAMLITE is that you get a 180-degree beam angle. This is very important. So most tape light is always 120 degrees. And so even if you put it in a channel or lens, if you're using this, let's say for cove lighting, you're going to get a little bit more of a harsher beam onto the wall or ceiling, and you're going to be able to see it where it kind of ends. With 180 degrees, due to that phosphor being completely rounded from edge to edge on that PCB, you get much better scattering properties. It's much wider, and you get much more bang for your buck with that light being able to capture more of the surface area. So this is great for coves. This is great for even under cabinet. So instead of the light just kind of shining straight down, you'll get much more of that countertop lit up using STREAMLITE. So very important to mention, with all of the different options you have for STREAMLITE, you get 180-degree beam angle. So with our STREAMLITE, right, this is our static white option. So meaning that you can pick a whole host of different CCTs. It is 24 volts. That is something to mention. We used to offer it in 12 volts. We no longer do. It wasn't really moving. Really, we see the industry moving forward towards 24 volts because it's as expensive or same price. You can do much farther max runs, right? And you can have better cut points with 24 volts. But thing to mention is we do have two options in lumen outputs. This is important. A STREAMLITE, right? We have a 200 plus option, but my favorite is we have the 400 plus lumen output. Meaning you can really get a kick out of this STREAMLITE. You can use it for a lot of applications where you need really good general illumination and foot candles down on the surface. This is a pretty bright tape light for what you get and the cost that you get for it. So it is 8 millimeters wide. I want to mention that because our static white option is 8 millimeters and every other option is a little bit wider. And why this is important is making sure that you check the spec sheet, which we've revised our spec sheets, right, to make sure you check what is compatible with each tape light. As it gets a little bit larger, which is 10 millimeters, which is not as large as Valent or Valent X, but it is a little bit larger than the normal Blaze X and STREAMLITE static white, there are just some channels, very rare, there's not that many, but there are some channels that this tape light will not fit in, right? And then the max run is the one limitation on why STREAMLITE is not yet the future of tape light, right? So it really achieves everything else that you need out of a tape light, right? More scattering effects, dotless lighting, low profile. We're giving you the options now of tunable white and RGBW. Biggest thing though is because of the amount of diodes that are on the actual PCB, it pulls too much amperage, so unfortunately, as of now, the max run is 16.4 feet. We will be increasing that to around 24 feet, hopefully next year. So as time goes on and the technology increases and we're able to keep redesigning this, we're hoping as time goes on, we can increase these max runs. In the future, if you can get, 35 feet or above or 40 feet or above, right, why wouldn't you use this type of tape light everywhere, right? It would be so cost effective, has all of those properties that you want. Why would you ever use a dotted tape light in the future? But we'll see where this goes. I'm hoping in the next 5 years we'll be able to achieve that. And then warranty, 7 years. So obviously, as you know, with Diode LED, we have the first and second longest warranty in the industry, 12 years at the Valent and Valent X series, our 12 millimeter tape light, and then 7 years at STREAMLITE, Blaze X, right? Very, very non-restrictive warranty as well. So I want to show you on the top down our STREAMLITE close up. So I have a 400 lumen STREAMLITE here. So you can see this is tape light in every way. It's flexible light tape light. It has adhesive on the back light tape light. It is low profile light tape light. You can cut it every 2 inches light tape light, right? So you have a cut point there, right? It is absolutely beautiful. And you can, let me show it to you on. This is what you get with STREAMLITE, right? I just put my hand back so you can see it better, is you get no dotting whatsoever. And I'll show you on the back side what I mean by the dots here. So what you usually get with cob lighting is you get not individual diodes as much as you get almost like there are, it's like one giant diode across the PCB. The issue with that is being able to expand that product into anything with color changing. When you don't have individual diodes to be able to address, the color mixing is absolutely atrocious, right? It does not color mix very well. You can't create scenes that well. Anytime you're switching from color to color, it has very weird striations and variations. So this is why we wanted to go a different route. And instead of doing cob, we decided to do individual diodes across the entire PCB. And I'll explain that in a second, why that matters with tunable white and RGBW. And then just wanted to show you though, or wet located STREAMLITE as well, right? We use an entire silicone sheath, right? So instead of the silicone just being on the top, right, we'll have it completely encased in silicone. You still get the adhesive on the back. And just note, this is something I always want to make sure that we have one of the only wet located tape lights in the industry that you can cut in field and keep its UL listing. Right, that's very important. There is a lot of competitors out there that they will hide that on the 7th page of the spec sheet, where if you try to cut this in field, it's no longer UL listed. So let's move on here. Did want to mention this for just a second. I know that we have some specifiers on here. This is not as important, but I do want to mention that this is terminal block compatible. So if you are working on a job where you're specifying a large job and there is going to be some type of field install, we do have a really great connection that actually fits inside the channel. It's extremely easy to use. It's clear, so the light actually shines through it, right? And contractors love this. So don't be afraid if there are some areas that you're specifying, right, and designing that the dimensions might change over time. So you are worried about doing a factory assembled fixture because the dimensions might change over time. Now you can actually still allow the contractor to build out that design in the field using our connections. And so I'll show you really quickly just a snapshot of one of them. This is just what it looks like, right? Clear, 4 screws. We even have these little sleds on the back side that actually block the screw from over tightening and piercing the tape light and piercing the wire. Very well designed. It's a patent of ours. Again, I don't think you'll get into this that often, but I just wanted to make sure you had this in the back of your in your back pocket. So awesome. All right, moving on here. All right, let's get to the fun stuff, right, is really where the color changing is. As you know, right, you probably have seen this for maybe about a year. We came out probably around a year ago, maybe a little bit over, with STREAMLITE Tunable White. And tunable white is becoming very popular, mainly because people love having options and controllability, right? This is where I think the future of lighting is going, is in the future when we can bring down the price for some of these control systems, we can bring down the price for tunable white and RGBW and RGBWW. Why would someone ever just use a static white in the future? Why would they not give themselves the option to choose any CCT you want and any color that you want? Obviously, the technology is not there. It's still a little bit more expensive, which is why we don't see this used as often. But like anything, right, technology always ends up going down in price as we redesign and re-engineer it. And so this is our tunable white. It has a adjustable CCT from 2700 up to 6500, so you get a pretty large range. I think we are working on that in the future, hopefully getting even a larger range than that. One thing to note, though, our tunable white STREAMLITE is not yet offered in wet located format. So just keep that in mind. It's not yet offered in wet located format. It's 24 volts. You can get up to about 260 lumens. You got to see this in person, though. Get a sample. It is pretty bright. In my opinion, it looks brighter than the 260. Like I said earlier, 10 millimeter wide, so it doesn't fit in every single channel of ours, and you still get that 16.4 foot max run and 7-year warranty. So I wanted to show it to you with using a little bit of a different control system today here. So let me pull it out. So I am going to be using this with our Kasambi control system. This is using a Bluetooth, low power Bluetooth, which is a little bit unique in the industry. It allows you to have a little bit larger runs and being able to connect to each other from farther away. It can actually go through walls a little bit easier as well. This is really a great option if you are doing a high-end residential project and you don't need all of the flexibility of DMX. You can still create scenes with this, animations with this. You can even plug in your local circadian rhythm using our STREAMLITE Tunable White and actually have that light change as the sun comes up and then goes back down. You can do a lot of great stuff with this, and my favorite part is it's very, very user-friendly. Very user-friendly. So I'm going to show it to you off the app. Using the app, you do not have to just have the app. There are plenty of different hardware options as well. If you need to put it on the, you want something on the wall so that they don't, they have the option to do both. So let me sign in here really quick and then I'll show you here. So this is the app here, right? Using it, okay? So I already have it up. I have it named here. As you can see, I have it as the S1, which is our channel. very low profile channel, STREAMLITE tunable white, right? So I can turn it on and off, pretty easy, right? And then I can even hold it down. And as I show you here, right, let me pull this in a little bit, there you go. So I can go, this is at full dim, so I'll go down a little bit. Obviously, the camera never does lighting justified, unfortunately. Hopefully someday they'll make technology a little bit better to show lighting through a camera, but as you can see, it's going down, so a little bit on your end. It's definitely doing much more on our end. And I can dim it back up. And then as you can see here, right, I have it around 4,350K. I can go all the way up and see how it changes. You get that little bit whiter, cool white, little bit of a hint of blue in there maybe. And then I can go all the way back down as well. So I'll go down, oops, all the way to that low Kelvin temperature at 2700. So very, very easy to use. If you're ever looking for a training on Kasami, we have a lot of great stuff online. You can do so much more with this than just what I showed you, but for the sake of time, I wanted to keep it very simple. So then I'll just turn it off there. Easy peasy. So pull that off there. All right, let me go and put this up here. All right. All right, now I wanted to really talk about probably my most exciting product that's come out this year is our STREAMLITE RGBW. People have been waiting for this. This is going to be a game-changing product. It looks absolutely gorgeous in person. You have to get a sample of this. The color mixing is far exceeds my expectations, right? So I was worried at first when we wanted to come out with STREAMLITE RGBW, just to be completely honest with you, because the diodes were so close, they're so small, right? Being able to have nice color mixing, going between different scenes, right? Changing colors, but I think we achieved something really great. And I'm going to show it to you here in just a second, but just wanted to go over the very basics, right? Again, 180-degree beam angle. You get, like most typical RGBW, right, you're getting all the RGB colors, and then with a 3000 Kelvin color chip on it as well. So you can mix and go between any color. You can add in white and then take the white out. And then you can also, if you wanted to, if they wanted to just switch from colors, they could switch back to just the 3000 Kelvin chip. And you can technically achieve different CCTs with it if you mix in the blues and yellows. There is ways to do that to make it a little bit warmer or a little bit whiter, but it's not technically as accurate as just an RGBWW. But I have some news on that here in just a little bit. Like the tunable white, we usually do this when we come out with a product, right? We want to test the waters with it. So this is only indoor rated as of now. We will be coming out this next year with a wet located version as well. And like everything, right, pretty very similar specs as all the other STREAMLITE, right? 24 volts, you can get up to about 270 lumens a foot. Just keep in mind that the specs are very, very similar to Valent RGBW. And so the reason why I bring this up is that there is really only one reason more to use Valent RGBW. You get about a 20 to 25 lumens a foot increase using Valent RGBW. But in my opinion, that is not enough to justify not using STREAMLITE RGBW. The max runs are the same. The warranty is the same, right? They're both 24 volt. They're both 90 CRI, right? They both have an RGB and a 3000 Kelvin color chip, right? So in every other way, they're similar. But what you get with STREAMLITE RGBW is that uniformed diffusion, that dotless lighting. And so why I'm a big fan of the STREAMLITE RGBW is you can put this in very low profile channels without seeing any of the dots, right? It can make it look very uniform. And what I'm going to show you is our lowest profile channel using a basic touch style system. So sorry, this is just for our samples. This is very old school touch and go RF system. But I wanted to show it to you in our most low profile channel. So before I turn it on, this is our S1. It's actually one of my favorite cost-effective channels we offer. The reason why it's cost-effective is mainly the two things, right? You get one finish option, aluminum, and you get one lens option. So unlike our slim, our square, our 45, which is more our spec grade architectural channels, you get multiple lens options and multiple finish options. This is how we're able to bring down this in price, but it's extremely low profile, and using STREAMLITE, it looks absolutely gorgeous. So I'm going to show it to you on here, right? And so again, Keep in mind, right, it's never going to do it justice through the actual camera, but I can switch it around completely even, uniformed, and I'll even do this right here. I think you can see the colors a little bit better that way. So switching it around, right? It even does a good job, believe it or not, on pinks and purples, which is always the struggle with any type of RGBW, is doing good pinks and purples. So let me go to that purple here. There you go. Go into the green. There's the purple right there, right? So you can see pretty good, nice, even diffusion across. If you get a sample of this in hand, you'll see what I'm talking about. It's not doing it as much just through that camera, but it's actually literally to the edge of the lens, to the edge of the lens, you have nice, even diffusion across. Right, this is what you get out of STREAMLITE RGBW. If you put, for example, Valent RGBW in a low profile channel like this, you are going to get more striations. You're going to see the dotting when it actually color mixes and you're changing from different colors, right? So I strongly suggest using STREAMLITE RGBW for anything that's low profile and specifically anything that is direct view. If you're doing anything direct view with a low profile channel, STREAMLITE RGBW is perfect for that. So just keep that in mind. And I wanted to show you one other product that's a little bit unique here that we actually tested out. We talked about this last quarterly specifier. So this is our black lens in our slim channel. And this is another sample I strongly suggest you guys getting in hand, you guys and gals. So I'm going to turn it on here. So obviously the black channel, the black lens is going to cut off quite a bit of the lumen output. But here's a unique thing. We did some research on this, and there's something about the black lens, but with color coming through it, our eyes see it much more. So it actually, in person, it's much brighter than you would expect coming through a black lens. And so I'm going to show you, this has a STREAMLITE RGBW in it. It's obviously flickering because it's a little bit at the lower lumen level, which on a camera, unfortunately, anything lower lumen, it flickers. But it still comes out very beautiful in person. For example, the camera is showing you this kind of hot spot through the middle that's flickering. In person, this is almost fully diffused across the lens. So again, you have to take my word for it or get a sample in hand. It's absolutely gorgeous. This is great for theater rooms, right? Any area where the architecture is going to be more black, right? Now, instead of it being off and you seeing something like this, right, where let's say you have a theater room and you're using a channel like this everywhere, when off, you're going to see these white lines everywhere. Now you can hide that into the architecture, but still actually use color changing throughout the theater room or the game room or the living room, wherever you're using this. Definitely suggest getting a sample of this in hand. I was very surprised how beautiful it came out. Awesome. Okay, where's my, I gotta find my clicker there. There's my clicker. All right. Almost done here. We're going to move on and get some questions, but I do want to just talk a couple channel profiles here that I really suggest with the STREAMLITE, mainly because the STREAMLITE is a very actually cost-effective solution for what you get. There is a lot of cob out there that is, in my opinion, overly priced and doesn't even have the same technology as our STREAMLITE, which isn't cob, right? So wanted to talk about a few channels that I like to pair up with the STREAMLITE. This is just a really cool snapshot of some of the renderings of our different channels. But as I showed you earlier, right, I'll go back to the top down here, is I want to show you these three channels all in one for the sake of time here. So we have the S1, which I showed you with both the tunable white and the STREAMLITE RGBW, our most lowest profile, cost-effective channel out there. Beautiful channel. When STREAMLITE is plugged in on it, it really can transform this channel into a spec gray type of channel, right? Complete, even dotless, homogeneous lighting across from the edge to the edge. Versus if you use Blaze in here or Blaze X, right, you're going to still see that beam of light going down the middle. That's why I love using STREAMLITE and these smaller applications with low profile channels. Show you our slim recess. We're seeing this a lot. I have a 2700 in there, very low profile recess channel, great for millwork and different applications like that. And using STREAMLITE in here because of how close the lens is to where the tape light is mounted, and adheres to the actual channel. A lot of times with a normal tape light in there, you're going to still get some dotting, slight dotting, right, or a beam through the middle. Using STREAMLITE, right, you get this nice even diffusion across the board. And then the last one I wanted to show you, probably one of my favorite types of channels, is an angle channel. So this is our 45 deco, right? I'll show it to you on really quick. What I love about the 45 deco, again, you're getting this nice even diffusion using STREAMLITE, but two areas I like to use this is under cabinet. So instead of having the regular channel like an S1, mounting it up onto the under cabinet, and now it's just shining down. So unfortunately, let's say it's right here, but you're actually cooking way over here, right? You're not going to get that light dispersion where you actually need it. So a lot of people are using this 45 deco, they're putting it where the actual under cabinet meets the backsplash, putting it in that corner and actually shining it forward, so you're getting all of this nice diffusion out where you're actually cooking. Or another example is putting it in a cove, and instead of having a normal channel and it just shines straight up, you get a harsher beam if you're using regular tape light, not like STREAMLITE. You could put the 45 deco up there, use STREAMLITE, and it's going to shine back towards the wall, but also up towards the ceiling, and you're going to get this nice even diffusion across the architecture versus having a harsh cutoff. So these are 3 channels I really wanted to show you today. They're all very, very cost effective as well, which is why I love them. Obviously, reason why they're cost effective is you do only get the frosted lens and the aluminum finish, but for the most part, there are many applications and many projects where that is completely fine. So awesome. And then we'll go to just the last little part here. As I talk about drivers really quick, I just wanted to mention 2 things on drivers. I'll go back to the top down here. We'll skip the size. There's really 2 drivers I want you to recommend for everything, right? There's the OmniDrive X, which is our true universal driver, meaning that it can do triac dimming, ELV dimming, and 0 to 10 volt dimming. You can have multiple inputs coming in, so 277 down to 110 in. You can get this in 12 or 24 volt, and this has the largest compatibility list of any of our drivers and anywhere in the industry. This just works with everything. If you have an offshoot Amazon dimmer that you have to use on the project since it's already there, this will work. If you have an old Leviton dimmer that's 5 years old or something, this is going to work. This works with everything. It's truly the aspirin to your headaches, right? And my favorite part about it is it also has the smoothest dimming I've ever seen out of any driver. If you pair this up to a good Lutron dimmer with one of our Valent X tape lights with this driver, you can even not just do 0.1%. In some cases, you can actually do fade the dark, right? So very, very smooth dimming all the way down to that lowest level. I absolutely love this. This is what I suggest for any of our static white stream lights. So both static white indoor or wet located. And then this is what I suggest for everything that's color changing. So tunable white would be considered color changing since it's 3 wires. It's not our warm dim, which is only 2 wires. So 2-wire warm dim, you could use our OmniDrive X, but tunable white or color changing, I would use our VLM. And why I love our VLM, it's very, very low profile. It also just works. It's a great little driver. We have a patent pending on this. Very unique driver. I love the smoothness that you have with it as well, and being able to dim up and down color changing. It's beautiful. So I wanted to keep it simple for you today. Really 2 drivers to recommend. So we'll leave it at that. And then the last thing I wanted to talk about is where STREAMLITE is going. Okay, so yeah, where STREAMLITE's going. So STREAMLITE family, we're really investing in this product because we really do believe this is the future of where tape light is going. And so as we think the tape light is eventually going to become dotless, that in the future you'll no longer see dotted tape light. Why would you need it if you could go long max runs? Is you could get higher in lumen outputs, right? You could still do 2-inch or 1-inch cut points, right? Why would you do anything else? The same way, right? If you can get that same type of style of STREAMLITE and actually come out with it in even other types of protocol, so for example warm dim or RGBWW, and then bring down the technology eventually in price, in my opinion, an RGBWW STREAMLITE is going to be the future. And so next year, I just wanted to at least tease this. Please don't just start asking for it. I really want to make sure this is known. We do not have this product yet, but I did want to tease it to show you where we think this product is going to go. We are next year going to be releasing a warm dim STREAMLITE. So that will be a 2-wire STREAMLITE. What will be awesome about this is you get the same warm dim protocol using a standard dimmer and driver on the standard dimmer and driver. But you'll get that nice even diffusion across the entire tape light. And then we're also coming out with an RGB WW STREAMLITE. This will be a game changer. If we can bring this product out and it can perform the way we want it and bring it down in price, in the future, why would you ever use something that you don't have complete control over? Now you can give them one product for all, right? You can now have a dotless tape light. You can make it do any type of CCT you want because RGBWW is really just tunable white combined with RGB, right? You can do any color you want. You can mix in any type of white into that color. You could try doing a blue and mixing in a 2700 into it or a 6300. Or you could switch back over to just CCTs and choose any CCT you want within 27 to 63, or maybe it's a wider range, right? So be on the lookout for this. I'm very excited about this product. I think it's going to be an absolute game changer in the future. So, and with that, right, I'll really just end it here with a few additional inspiration, right? This is not all using STREAMLITE. The point of this is look at what you can do with tape light, right? Everything from even just commercial bridges, right? All different types of spaces that you can use linear tape light solutions to create the design, to not take away from the design, to not take away from the architecture, to blend that lighting into the architecture. And as we go down, right, mention too that tape light, in my opinion, in a layman's term, is the Legos of lighting, right? You can mix and match and swap out whatever you need to build out any type of design. You are no longer stuck with certain dimensions. You can choose any type of dimension, any type of color, any lumen output, right? And really have design capabilities that are infinite. Right, and that's what I love so much about tape light, is showing you all these different applications, all these different styles, right, that we can use tape light on. So with that, though, I wanted to leave it up for questions. Do we have any questions, or are we?
No, not so far.
Okay, we're going to switch it over to the... Awesome. Any questions? We can actually unmute them. Let's unmute them just so we have a smaller group anyways. Oh, no, we're good. Oh, no, we're good. Everyone's... Okay, well, if you do have any questions, I'll wait for 30 seconds if you want to put it into the chat. But in the meantime, thank you again for joining. We did record this, so if you're a rep out there or a distributor or a specifier that maybe your team couldn't make it, we will be actually emailing every person that registered for this. So we'll be emailing the recording as well as the slide presentation. The next one we'll be doing in probably around, I would say, April. We're going to be doing one of these every quarter. It won't all be the same, so the next one we're going to really expand off of this. We're trying to tell a story. We're really trying to make sure people understand that you can use Diode LED products in high quality applications and spec grade types of projects. So with that, are we good? No more questions? Awesome. With that, I'm going to sign off. I'm Cam, the Senior National Training Manager at Diode LED. I'll see you next time. Come join the Reel to Reels. We're doing those once a month. Those are awesome. They're on a single product. They're 15 minutes long. We usually do them the first Monday of every month. We'll have one next month as well. We're doing a really cool new Lucetta New Year special in January as well. Be on the lookout for that. We'll be sending out all the marketing for it. We're trying to do more of these. Come join us up here in Reno as well. Come to one of our trainings. They're awesome. We have brand new trainings next year as well. Everything from standard, intermediate, advanced, specification trainings. We really want to be there with you, help you through all this, and start obviously getting on some of these beautiful projects. So with that, I'll sign off there, and we'll see you next time. Awesome. You're good. No worries. So just to let you know, when I end it, it will be back to the 4 for slides.
I almost did that.
You're good. No, you did great. Thank you.
Thank you.
You helped me a lot. I didn't just mute it so that they don't hear anyone.
Yeah.
Okay, so boom, and we're gonna go here. We always want to make sure. stop. Also, though, you know why we record here, right? So let me show you.